Movie Podcast. This is episode 33 for the week of September 17th, 2012. I'm Dakazu for the forums, and who else is here today?
Hello, I'm DarkFox8.
Mr. X.
And Totoro.
We're back, the core four.
Yes.
Wait, did you just hoodwink me?
Maybe.
It depends. Did you notice?
I haven't agreed to anything, even though I've clearly been on for the last 3 or 4 podcasts.
You should be on every podcast.
I don't know.
Maybe this is X and I's secret plan to get you to be a regular without being a regular.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see you guys next week, I guess.
This is thrilling conversation.
So how about that RoboCop?
He doesn't look as cool as old RoboCop.
Yes, there's some pictures just came out today of the new RoboCop and the suit and everything.
Is this confirmed? This is a NeoGAF thread.
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Yeah.
That's in the second image. You can totally see that it is Joel Kinnaman, who is they've long been reporting that he's going to be RoboCop.
And he's from The Killing, right?
From The Killing, he was in a Swedish movie called Snabba-Cash, which translates to Easy Money. I wish that they were going to use him in the American version of that, but last I heard they were getting Zac fucking Efron for whatever reason.
That sounds like a good idea.
Have you guys ever seen the Guyver?
I saw one
Guyver.
with a little kid.
Yes,
He
I
looks
know
like
what you're talking about.
He looks like Guyver.
Yeah, I guess a little bit, because it's kind of like a svelte, whatever you call it, like a thin robot suit.
I don't know.
I don't like it.
Kind of.
I don't
think
like
it's
it.
just gonna be black like it is in the pictures,
Probably.
Yeah.
or do you think they're gonna CG it up a little bit on top?
No, that's the way it's going to be. Well, if you blow the one picture up where he's got the full head mask on, you can see that there's like a red line on the helmet.
And it's a shiny helmet.
So it's
Oh,
very
you're right.
shiny.
He does have, yeah. It's sort of calling back to like the previous helmet motif visor.
Yeah, the Peter Weller.
Yeah, you're right. I think there might be CG involved in taking off the helmet, unless it's an actual helmet that he takes off with his hands.
Well, RoboCop never had a red thing over on his eyes.
Well,
But
it's
he
because the
had
previous,
something that covered his eyes.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
like the slit that went across the metal helmet. It was just like one small visor.
It's
I
weird
guess.
that it's not like chrome. You know, it's black.
They're trying to make him edgier.
Yeah, I
Also,
didn't
he
know
has
that
a
they were going to
human hand.
redesign him.
You guys
Well,
see
yeah,
that?
in the first movie, the original, only one of his hands was destroyed, and they said they could save the other one, and then they were just like, "No, get rid of it."
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny.
And then they gave him a robot hand.
It was always freaky whenever they showed Murphy with his helmet off, and it was like, I don't know, it looked like his
Skin grab or something.
his skin was like stapled onto the machine part.
And there's the bullet hole scar in the forehead.
Right.
That is a really violent movie.
It is.
Extremely.
It's also great.
Well, it's so violent because it's a parody of making fun of violent movies.
Well, and the whole reason why I think they talked about this on one of the other podcasts, but the whole reason why they covered his face was, like, covered the eyes, was to, like, remove the humanity of him.
And
of
then
the character.
they're constantly taking the mask
Like
off.
the helmet, yeah, exactly.
You know what the coolest part of RoboCop was? The spiky hand thing. How he would
Oh.
interface with computers with a spike.
Is that like USB 5.0 or something?
Yes.
Everything comes with like a javelin, basically.
And you have to... In the future, we'll have to stab our computers violently.
Made me think of like how like R2-D2, only like a lot less violently.
Yep.
Has anybody read whether he's gonna have like the same walking style, very old school robot?
Don't know.
I would think not.
I mean, I didn't know
That's
they were gonna do
unfortunate.
this. I assumed they were gonna redesign a little bit, but like it's completely different. I don't know.
I'm most disappointed about the boot, because the cool thing about the original like boot is it got the little piston in the back, and that looks like really robotic and cool.
Well, you can't really see the back of his boot.
Well, everything about the old RoboCop armor suit thing looked extremely heavy. It looked like it was, steel plating, whereas this looks like kind of like the carbon plating, it looks a lot lighter. So I think having like the piston sounding of the walk and everything would be it wouldn't fit quite so much.
Now, I heard somebody, I think on Twitter, I read somebody compare it to like the Batman armor from Dark Knight and Forward, which is kind of comparable. It's supposed to be sleek and somewhat realistic.
That's not RoboCop though, RoboCop is a big bulky dude who just stands there, takes a bunch of bullets, and then
and walks slowly, and then shoots.
Mm-hmm.
Super robotic, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his movies, where he just kind of walks around shooting people and never gets hit.
Which is kind of weird because Peter Weller, the actor who played the original RoboCop, is not like a huge hulking guy.
Can you imagine though if they would have got like Arnold Schwarzenegger and then put him in a RoboCop suit? How big that would be?
Yeah, because they'd have to put it on top of how big he already is.
He would be a walking like refrigerator, Mr. Freeze, refrigerator.
Yeah.
I don't even recognize this guy. You said this guy is from The Killing?
Yeah, he was on The Killing. He's been in a few other things.
He was the best character in the first season of The Killing until the last episode.
But you have no clue what happened in the second half of that, or then the second season.
You're right, I don't.
It was good.
Not really interested. Show's canceled.
Yeah, it was. I'm disappointed. Totoro disappointed.
Dakazu is meh.
So, how about that Wii U?
They redesigned it.
Yeah.
Holy forced transition, Batman.
Speaking of the Wii U.
Speaking of redesigns into shitty looking robots.
Miyamoto's a robot?
Yeah. No, I don't know. Sorry.
Iwata's a robot?
There was a bunch of stuff announced this week.
Well, tell me, because I have no interest in this, and I know nothing.
They had the Nintendo Direct, which is like these mini press conferences they have, but this one was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, because they announced the release date and price.
And for the first time ever, North America is getting a Nintendo console before Japan.
Which is crazy.
Did the Wii come out in Japan before?
Really?
Yes, it's coming out here the 18th of November. It's not coming out in Japan until December.
It even comes out earlier in Europe than Japan. It comes out November 30th in Europe.
What is happening in the Japanese market? Is it like going to complete ass and shit? Is that why?
Well, they're all handhelds, right? That's mostly what they buy.
Well, I was listening to the A4 Play podcast, and they talked about, I'm not sure what's happening in Japan, but apparently it's going to be a Monster Hunter bundle. So there's a Monster Hunter at launch, which sounds like a big deal. And maybe that's why they pushed it back 1 month. They need to work on Monster Hunter for 1 extra month or something. I don't know.
Well, and the other thing is that they really need to get the Wii U's out in America before Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, that's probably... Yeah, that's actually probably the motivation number one.
Mm-hmm. They announced 2 SKUs.
Right.
There's an 8GB one and a 32GB one.
Right. The 32GB one also brings, if I remember correctly, a charging dock for the Wii Pad.
So the 32 is the black one?
Yes.
Yeah, the deluxe set, which if you remember back to the original NES, they had the different, like the action set and the deluxe set and
so wait, this comes with a robot?
Does this also come with a power pad?
No, this is not the power set. This is the deluxe.
I'll get it if it comes with a robot.
So Rob the robot or else no buy.
Yes.
So you want to play some Gyromite in stunning 3D?
Only the pricing for this does not make sense because the 8GB is $299 and the 32 gig is $349. So for $50 more, you get a better thing, much better.
$250.
It's a $50 difference.
No, it's $200 and $350. There's no $250
I'm saying,
model.
Shouldn't the basic
no,
model
it's
be
$299. It's $299 and
$300 and $350.
I'm sorry. Yeah, $300, $350. That's what I meant to say if I didn't say that.
But the other one brings the pricier one brings a game also.
Yeah, the one for $350 comes with the charging cradle and a game. Comes with Nintendo Land.
I would rather that they have bundled it with new Super Mario Brothers U rather than Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to recreate Wii Sports with it.
I don't care. I want them to recreate the NES with it and the Super NES with it and give me a fucking Mario game.
That probably wouldn't have been smart of them because if we would buy Mario game, we probably wouldn't buy Nintendo Land.
Yeah, why bundle the game that everyone will buy instead of bundling the game that no one will buy?
I mean, that's what they did back in the day, but not anymore, I guess.
I don't think there's a Nintendo. I don't think there's a game bundled in any of the Japanese bundles.
Yeah, there's not. Same with Wii. The Wii Sports did not come bundled in with the Wii in Japan.
Yeah, and it's really evident that I don't want to say that America's getting fucked over because it's probably worse in Europe, but this really strong yen right now is driving up the cost of these things.
Also, the premium one brings some sort of PlayStation Plus style subscription service, I assume for 1 year or something like that, where you get points for every purchase you make, and that adds up, and you can buy other purchases with those points you were adding up.
Like virtual console stuff?
Yeah, like every single time you buy something, it gives you a percentage of that in like Wii points or something. And once you get enough, you can buy an actual game or whatever you want.
But you have to pay for that?
Good.
But you have to pay for that?
Yeah, that's like it kind of like PlayStation Plus. It's like a subscription service, and it comes like the premium one comes with it, like I guess a card for it.
But don't they have that now, where every game comes with a thing, and then you go to the website and register it?
Isn't that like the Nintendo Club?
Yeah, that sounds like what this is.
But you don't get games with that. You just get like extra like stuff.
I think there was a game.
Occasionally you might get a game, but usually it's like memorabilia. If I remember correctly, it's like a neat controller or something like that. This is more like a practical direct service, like PlayStation Plus. You know, in the long run, you're gonna save money if you pay this thing.
Well, is there anything else to having this subscription, or is it just this point system?
I have no clue.
That's how they said.
If all it is,
was like PS Plus.
If it's just like a digital Kool-Aid point collector, I don't think it's good. Kool-Aid points, guys.
Well, hopefully they're smart and they're gonna add something else, because obviously if it's just this, it sounds super dumb.
Webcam of Miyamoto.
Like, how much is it per year? Is it like $50?
They haven't said, and I don't think they even said how much the one that comes with the console is. I just assume it's a year. Like it'd be kind of rip off if it's like 1 month.
3 months.
What if it was super cheap though? Like
if it's like $25, if it's $20 a year, then fine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
I would pay like $20 a year, or I would probably pay $50 a year if I could get like, you know, if they definitely gave you like a game every month, like even if it was just like a virtual console game.
Well, yeah, if they actually gave out free things, not just like this point collection, but if you had to pay $50 a year to opt into this point system, like that wouldn't be worth it.
No, definitely not.
Not at $50. If it's if it was $10, $20, maybe if you're buying a lot of stuff off of the Wii system, the Wii U store, then that would be fine. But
it would be it's like having to pay for the Kool-Aid points that come on the little packets of Kool-Aid.
Okay, I'm looking at a joystick article, and it says subscribers get eShop points via the service and a 10% discount on all digital purchases. The subscription runs through December 2014. So yeah, it's like a year.
So you get 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14 is 2 years.
Oh yeah, dirt.
So and if they're doling out points to you, then
yeah. So it seems pretty good because you get points for buying stuff, and at the same time, things you buy are discounted 10%.
I bet it's not $20 a year then. Then it might be.
It's maybe 30, 40. Yeah, something.
But that's not really a lot though. 10%. That's like $6.
Oh,
well, over time.
That's true. But if you are like me, you would buy like one Nintendo game a year.
Well, yeah, I bet this is going to be really good for families and for parents who go out and they buy their kids the new Nintendo system. They get this, and they get the subscription. It doles out, call it, just out of pure speculation, 1,000 points a month. Junior can go out and he can get a 1,000-point game every month, for the next, 2 years. Or something to that effect. And then I think that is actually, if that's the way it works, because if that's kind of the way it sounds like it's going to work, if that's the way it's going to work, then that's going to be a huge value proposition for these, for parents buying this console for their kids.
But there's only 32 gigs of storage.
But you can plug in You can plug in a USB hard drive.
That's another hidden cost then.
Well, we don't know exactly how big these games are, but
well, I mean, you'd assume they'd be like Xbox Live Arcade and PSN and Steam size.
Yeah, but they're also releasing all like every single game that comes out. It's gonna be on the eShop as well. Like all the disc games, they're also gonna put them on the eShop.
But aren't
so
the discs,
those are probably gonna be bigger.
Aren't the discs like hold up to like 20 gigs?
I don't think they've announced anything like the specifications like that.
I think
that would mean that it'd have to be a Blu-ray.
Yeah, or HD DVD.
No, I think they're using DVDs. I think they've already confirmed. Sorry for the I think cast, but this is stuff that didn't necessarily cover in the conference I watched. Because I did actually watch this conference live.
Well, one thing is that I know that they did announce that kind of made me happy was that if you purchased any sort of Virtual Console or WiiWare games on your Wii, that you can move those over from your Wii to your Wii U
I was about to ask, because wasn't it before like you had to buy it on your Wii and then you had to buy it on your 3DS,
and it was like completely tied
over. That's good.
Also, they talked about the Nintendo TV with two eyes at the end of V.
Yeah, that was dumb.
What is this? Is this like the Sega channel?
No, this is like an aggregate for all your like content watching services. Basically everything from Hulu to Nintendo to Netflix,
live TV.
Yeah, even live TV,
DVR.
Yeah,
TiVo.
And what I thought was kind of interesting about it is that you don't boot up Netflix and then look for this like TV show. What you do is you boot up this Wii TV thing and look for anything you want to watch, and then once you choose it, it gives you the options you have to watch it, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, or watch it live on TV. So I think in that sense it's kind of smart. It's kind of intense because it's not dividing you into like a bunch of different lists.
Okay, I had read about that, but I thought that it was only tied to like TiVo, and I was like, well, if this is just like a remote box for a TiVo, then it doesn't really help me at all.
Well, it made it sound like that the TiVo like would be built in to it, but it's not. It's just it gives you like remote access to a TiVo. That is the live fine. TV and DVR stuff.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's cool. But I know that I wonder how many people anymore have an actual TiVo in their house. I know that every time that I've ever had any sort of DVR functionality, it's been what's ever been provided by my cable company.
I think that they're still doing okay.
Well, do you? Okay, do you have a TiVo?
No, I don't. I don't know
Dark
anyone that does.
Oh no, I do not.
Dakazu, do you have a DVR?
No.
Well, I do know of one person, I think, that has TiVo. I believe Higgins said on the Geekbox in an episode that he has one with the lifetime service on it.
There are still people who use TiVo.
Right. Well, but I know that for a while they took away the lifetime subscriptions. So, like, my parents, for a while, they had, like, a second or third series TiVo, and it was fine for them, but then once they moved up to, like, an HD TV, then they couldn't record in HD, and they couldn't, like, play it back in HD, so I felt really bad because they would be watching, or they would be looking at stuff on this brand new, flat panel, and it was all this, SD media being played back on it. It looked horrible, and it wasn't good. And I talked to him. I was like, why don't you move up to like the TiVo HD? And it's like, well, we have the lifetime subscription on this, and I think they had just like they had a certain amount of time that it was like, well, if we keep it until this certain, or if we keep using it until a certain day and time, then it will have paid for itself and all this other stuff. And then on top of that, at the time, they weren't doing the lifetime subscriptions anymore.
Well, there is like that TiVo thing for Comcast, where Comcast provides I guess switched out their DVR software for TiVo stuff since their TiVo's is better.
Well, and doesn't TiVo partner with, is it DirecTV? Because I think Dish has that Hopper thing.
Maybe, I don't know. But back to the TV.
Right.
This TV thing does not sound like a bad idea. Is this free? Like, is it just built into the controller?
I mean, the interface is free, but obviously, like, it won't bring you like a subscription to Netflix or anything like that. That's all you, right?
Basically, it's just a really good universal remote.
Yeah, kind of. It's
universal
kind of like
box.
An aggregate of all the list.
The Wii U won't handle Netflix.
It'll have Netflix.
Or Hulu?
Yeah. And Hulu.
It will, but it'll handle it through, from what I'm understanding from listening to X and Darflex, is that it's going to handle it through this Nintendo TV.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't seem like a bad thing, though.
And it also has more functionality similar to Xbox Glass. Was that what it was called? Or Microsoft Glass?
The Smart Glass.
Smart Glass.
Smart Glass. Yeah. If you recall, like, they had this active timeline wiki thing while they're watching King of Thrones or Game of Thrones. I'm getting all these names wrong. I don't know why I'm brain farting right now, but it's like, oh, why are you watching Game of Thrones? During this scene, you could look down at your iPad and see that this actor also worked in this, and they're actually in this part of the world in their universe. It has a similar thing. They showed an episode of Modern Family.
They showed a lot of Modern Family.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly that. It was more like highlights from the episode and like a Twitter feed that you could access. Where, like, throughout the episode, every single time something funny happens, it makes like a checkpoint, and then you see people talking about it and sending messages about it.
And on the controller, you can have like different profiles. Like, it would say dad, mom, and then the kids, and then grandma, so that you can have all your favorites and stuff set up on it, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd expect that from what they were doing with the Mii's and stuff. There was another aspect to it that, again, I'm sorry for brain farting so much right now, but think along those lines, it was kind of cool. Nothing to, like, go crazy about, but I guess it did a pretty good job at, like, finally opening up and doing, like, entertainment stuff. Because, they've all been about games for the past few consoles. They didn't want to play DVDs or anything like that, and now they're finally doing it.
Yep. Well, the Wii had Netflix.
Yeah, but, like, it took a while for it to get it, right?
And I think it had to use a disc, right?
Yeah.
Well, same with PlayStation 3 when it started. I remember you had to get the Netflix to send you a PS3 disc.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I would contend that PlayStation 3 has the best interface for it.
Well,
yeah, most people seem to agree with that.
Yeah, it's just the best. It's 1080p and it has 5.1 audio, which is, I believe, the only Netflix device that does that. I think, at least that's how it started.
Right.
I was talking earlier about how that subscription thing for the point system, maybe it's a better idea that, like, that is only, like, you're only paying for that point system, because that way you're not splittering off, like, your user base like Xbox Live Gold and Silver does. Because if you're not Gold, you don't get anything through, like, Xbox.
Well, you get access
probably better with the PlayStation
games.
idea, where you just can, like, access.
Yes, Silver means you just can't play online.
Yeah.
But
or
you get access
Netflix.
To
Yeah, you don't get Netflix.
Oh yeah.
You don't get any of that stuff.
Which is balls. That is so stupid. I'm already paying for Netflix. Why in the hell do I want to pay more for Gold? Because, I mean, honestly, I've not turned my 360 on in like 6 months.
I haven't turned mine on since Mass Effect.
Yeah,
a lot of people have said
Mass Effect, I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that, like, it's gonna be kind of interesting what they do with the next console, because during this console they haven't shown that they've been shaken by an inch by what Sony has done.
Because they haven't had to, but next gen.
What, Xbox?
Yeah.
See,
PlayStation Plus is a much better value.
It is, and you know what? Looking at the Wii U now and its system, it would seem like Xbox probably needs to. They probably might want to change some of their policies, but I bet Gold subscriptions still give them shit tons of money.
Well, the Wii U for online, I think, still uses friend codes.
Still?
I think so.
That is, God.
I haven't heard him say that, because they didn't talk about online in the conference.
Well, the time's fucking ticking for them at this point. They've got 2 months until this launches. They need to have figured it out long before now, and they need to have talked about it long before now. I know I was really kind of hoping that they would just do, whatever Valve has done, with Steam, and made that, how that works, just really well.
Oh, you mean good? Make it good?
Yeah, like, functional.
Yeah, forget like Xbox Live and PSN. Like Steam is kind of still the best thing.
Yes, especially now with the big picture mode.
Wait, before we move on to that, I know that was a good transition, but I just want to finish.
You freaking blew it.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just want to ask you guys, do you think the Wii U is going to be successful?
It's already sold out.
Yeah, the pre-orders are sold out. GameStop's nationwide.
And Amazon.
So at least
you
this
don't
first
think
batch?
it's going to be like the 3DS where like they totally fucked that up?
Well, the 3DS launched in spring, didn't it?
Yeah.
I can't think of any console that's launched in spring ever that did well at launch.
This first batch is obviously going to be sold out, whether it has like the sting part that the Wii had, because the Wii was sold out for a really long time, right? Who knows?
And how many of these pre-orders were bought just so they could sell them?
Well, and the Wii U is not, like the Wii U console is not on Amazon.
It was as of 20 minutes ago.
Never mind, I just saw it. Like, I checked into it, like, the very first day, and it's like I couldn't find it. And it's like, even if you search, like, Wii U console, like, you get the Wii Black console with New Super Mario Bros. Wii before you get to the white basic set, and that right now is going for $559.99.
Yep.
So the 300 one is there. People are already doubling up on it.
Do you think that's going to be a situation like when the 360 came out with the what was it, the Elite model?
I don't think. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that 300 model is a false choice.
But did you guys hear about their launch game?
Wait, which one?
Nintendo Land?
No, the other launch game.
Mario?
Funky Barn.
Funky Barn.
It's called...
I saw you post a link to it.
Funky Barn.
Yeah, I saw you post on it. Oh, Mass Effect 3 is coming out on Wii U.
Yeah, who cares? Funky Barn.
Funky Barn.
Funky Barn?
Funky Barn.
Okay.
The other thing that I've noticed is that with Wii U games, everything is now $60.
Yep.
That was like the one saving grace for the Wii games was that they were $50.
It was priced like the PS2 era, which is where it was from, right? And now this is priced like the Xbox the 360 PS3 era, which is where it's from.
Yep.
Oh God, are 720 and PS4 games going to be fucking $70?
I hope not. I kind of doubt it.
They could be. You never know.
It could be $80.
That could be $1 million.
I don't know. At a certain point, though, I mean, they can't bump up the price too much because, I mean, just they can't do it too much because, I mean, in the day and age of the dollar iPhone game, that people see that as a better value proposition because I think people are probably more likely to, spend more time because they can pick it up at any time. I realize it's a completely different experience, but that's the way I think people, in the current economic climate and all that kind of crap.
Yep.
They're not going to buy the difference. Like, even if it takes that much more money to make the games, they won't care if it's more money to buy.
Also, if you jack up the price, that's gonna like make the resale, like the used games market, kind of blow up even more, and they want to get away from that, right? So.
Right.
Speaking of getting away from the used game market, big picture mode.
Steam.
No, that transition was good. I'm sorry I blew your transition earlier, but I just wanted to still talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised we talked so much about the Wii U, considering I'm not even going to get one.
I'm not getting one.
I
got no interest.
I'm interested in getting one, but I don't want to pay for it, so I probably won't get
one.
Well,
I might get one for Funky Barn.
Sorry, Higgins.
Funky Barn, I might get it. Although it's coming to the 3DS too, so I might get that instead. But, so who tried big picture mode? Besides
I
me?
tried it briefly. Actually, I haven't even launched the game with it. I just looked around with the community menu and stuff like that.
The navigating and everything is so much easier than Xbox Live or PSN. It just makes way more sense. It's like easy to find what you're looking for.
Well, like it just had 3 categories, right? It had games, store, and community, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if you've ever looked at the Xbox Live store and tried to find something.
Not recently. My 360 Red Ring a long time ago.
So going to the store in big picture mode on Steam, it's easy to find what you're looking for. It takes like 2 seconds. Like I'm looking at right now. I pre-ordered Borderlands 2 from big picture mode yesterday, and it was super easy. I just found it.
I just like that the first page divides into 3. The 3 things you ever want to use Steam for, right? You don't have to worry about any other ads or anything like that.
And it's super quick and responsive. And then
it was definitely something that looks a lot like Xbox.
Well, it's
the Xbox dashboard.
Sort of, but it's way easier to navigate. Yeah. It has a good user experience.
Well, yeah, I'm not bogged down with extra tabs about, Bing or whatever, so that's a huge
Plus just finding what you're looking for.
Zion cars.
But also it has a new Steam overlay in game and an on-screen keyboard so that you can just type with the controller, and the keyboard is actually pretty awesome. Was it described? What was it called? I forget.
Whoa, I'm looking at this right now. It's like a radial menu. You use your, I'm using a 360 controller, so I use my left stick, and then it brings up, all these letters, and then, I point in a direction, and then I use the face buttons to pick the letters.
That was actually the user interface for the PS2 Online, but,
It makes way more sense than a QWERTY keyboard on screen. It'd be way quicker to type with that.
That is definitely true.
Yeah, the PS3 has the T9 cell phone style thing.
Yeah, that is the worst.
Well, I'm actually really fast with it, but that's because I'm an idiot and I use it a lot.
But what do you guys think this means for the future, though? Do you think this is them testing out
the possibility of the Steam console?
I don't think it'll be a console.
Honestly, I don't think so.
I think if they're going to release a hardware like that, it's going to be a PC, but it's going to be like a home theater PC, where it's reasonably priced and then just launches straight to big picture mode, which you can set it to that now, and then have it be priced the same as or comparable to the next gen consoles. Why get a next gen console when you can get a PC that has infinitely more games?
I think the biggest significance it has, I think people are being a little bit crazy, saying that it's like second coming of Christ or something, or that Microsoft's in big trouble. It just makes the comparison a lot easier to make. Because, as I said previously, usually console people are talking about 360 and PS3, right? And even Steam was always better, right? But because the UI was so PC-like, you never really compared it.
Yeah, because it was made for sitting at a desk.
Yeah, but now
not sitting at your couch.
It's extremely. I mean, it's absolutely completely comparable
and superior.
Steam has a better interface than the PS3.
I don't know about superior yet. I think
and 360 combined.
No, me and Darvox are on the same page here.
I haven't used it as much. I just started using it as we start podcasting, so I would say it looks pretty good.
You should try it sitting on your couch, so if you get a chance. Because I've been playing.
That requires me dragging my PC to my TV and the.
I've been playing games on my PC on my TV for the past year, and the games themselves were fine. But then when I get a message or something, and I bring up the Steam overlay and look at it, the font and everything is just so tiny you can't read it, and and launching your games is a pain, and this just makes the experience so much better.
It's just a lot more convenient because you don't have to be juggling the controller and the keyboard and stuff like that.
Yeah, now it's just controller.
Now you really can just sit with the controller. You can just
and
chill.
It's awesome. You can use
this is all it is.
You can use the guide button on the 360 controller to do stuff, to bring up your overlay so that you can look at your friends list and everything. You just hit the guide button.
It's kind of amazing they didn't do this sooner. It seems like such a simple thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if somebody's done an interview with them yet, or a feature about how much work went to the Steam overlay. Maybe it was actually really, really hard.
I think it's been in beta for the past year.
You also got to remember, now with the penetration of LCD TVs and plasma TVs, really kind of.
This is the perfect time for them to release it.
Yeah, because that's what I'm basically trying to say. There's enough people using LCDs and enough people with the capability to hook up their PC to.
And there's 50 million people on Steam now, and this is and with the next gen consoles getting ready to be announced next year, and then this.
Yeah, the first thing people are going to do is say, "Now let's go to Steam Big Picture."
Why get this when there's Big Picture?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make it easier to hook up your PC to your TV, but for those that already do that, it makes it so much better.
That's such a small percentage, though.
That's specifically just a living conditions style thing. If your computer's too far away from your TV or something.
I think there's more people that do it than you think.
Well, I remember to draw an example, Giant Bomb. For a long time, they would talk about comfy couch gaming and how I don't feel like playing a PC on a PC games because I'd rather sit at the couch, and people would make fun of them, right? And eventually they kind of conceded, and now like Brad Shoemaker and Vinny Carella are always like talking about playing games, PC games on the big screen.
Yeah, they said that's how they play like the majority of the games now.
Yeah, so like there are like dinosaurs that don't want to do this, but most people like kind of come to the sense and try to find a way to do it because it's the best way to play these games.
Yeah, and a lot of people do play games on their laptops, which is a lot easier to hook up to a TV than a desktop, just because of the size.
Yeah, and that's actually what I'm doing right now.
See?
I guess we'll see.
I like it. Also, it's pretty cool taking a screenshot with the controller, just because you can do it now.
Wait, how do you
hit the guide button and the right trigger.
Simple.
Although sometimes the guide doesn't want to, like when I first launch a game, the guide won't, or overlay won't pop up when I hit the guide button until I hit Shift Tab, and then it'll work. I have to hit Shift Tab on my keyboard once, and then it works perfectly.
Well, beta.
Yep. And actually, I would like to see them add apps to it, like a Netflix app or a Hulu app. That way, I don't have to turn on my PS3. I can just stick it in there, and that'd be awesome.
That'd be interesting, but who knows if they could convince these people to develop these apps specifically for Steam.
Yeah, that's true. But they are going to be selling non-games on Steam soon.
Steam Media Center. That would be pretty interesting.
Is that because of the success of like that documentary?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they're going to be selling software. Like, you're going to be able to buy Photoshop on Steam.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's kind of interesting, coming ahead of Windows 8 and the Windows 8 App Store.
I think that's why Gabe Newell keeps saying Windows 8 is a disaster, because it could potentially take money out of his pocket.
Well, they should have done. He should have started this like a year ago, 2 years ago. Although I guess the fact of the matter is that how many people do you say were on Steam now? That's a hell of a captive audience.
How many 360s are there? 60? 60 million? Something like that?
Yeah.
50 million PS3s, I think.
Yeah, but people are more apt to take their Steam accounts with them.
Yeah, but PC gaming is dead.
It's been people have been saying that for a while.
Oh, it's funny.
I would say for like the casual crowd that they don't really understand PC game besides like easy Facebook games and like really casual like Flash games.
But there's a lot of really casual games on Steam.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that like for like if you just talk to like any kid in like school today, they're more often to mention consoles.
Yeah,
just because
there's
it's more
still
affordable. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I would just say affordability.
And there's just the stigma of PC gaming being too complicated.
Which occasionally that happens, but sorry, Totoro.
It does.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that you talk about kids today being more apt to talk about, if they're talking about gaming with them, talking about, a console, be it the 360 or the PS3, and I think that that's not the case at all. I think it's more apt to be a handheld, either an iPhone, an Android phone, or an iPhone or an Android phone. I think it's more likely to be those mobile
I think it's more likely to be wherever Call of Duty is.
You know what? I would say Totoro's right. It's probably for like just mass penetration. It would say like phones first and handhelds, and then consoles, and then PC last.
Yeah, but who gets their little kid a new iPhone?
And not many people.
Dumb people that like seeing shattered phones.
But then I think they probably also get an iPod Touch before they get an iPhone, or they play on their parents' iPad.
That's true.
I mean, just between the iPhone, the iPod Touch, and the iPad, I mean, I don't even know the number. I should have paid more attention during the iPhone 5 announcement, because like the first 15 minutes of that is always, here are our numbers, and all that kind of crap, and I don't remember how many it is. But I mean, it's a not insignificant number.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? The iPhone 5 announcement?
It's full of pain and hurt because I can't upgrade. In the past, I've been able to upgrade every year and get like the full discounted pricing.
How are you able to do that every year?
But because I have 5 people on my account, and because I have spent so much money with AT&T Mobile that I get I essentially get an upgrade every year. But for whatever reason, now it's 18 months. In the past, I think, especially when AT&T was the sole provider of the iPhone, they were more apt to keep those people happy, so they wouldn't jump to a different.
Well, I mean, now that there's more
device,
there's more options available to them. You'd think they'd want to keep them happy so that they don't switch providers.
And that may be more of a thing with Apple. Apple may not. I don't know which side of it is not being as flexible. But, for me, the big thing was not the bigger screen, even so much as anything else. It was, they talked about, the improvements to the camera, the improvements to the battery life, and obviously the 4G LTE, which I looked up, like, right before the announcement. And evidently we're supposed to get that in my area, like, before the end of the year.
How fast is that?
Fast.
Okay.
It's like I can get maybe 3 to 4 megs on the HSPA Plus, which is the quote-unquote fake 4G. But I know that with the 4G LTE, I know that the AT&T version of that, where they have tested it, has the best speeds kind of all around. And I think you can get like up to 25 megabits a second.
That is really good.
Yeah, so
I'm just glad that the screen is bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wind up getting the 5S when that comes out. That seems to be the way everything's going.
My friend was complaining about the iPhone 5.
Oh yeah, what about?
Just how he missed, like, he doesn't like a lot of, like, the new features that they added, and he feels like Apple's just cashing in, being, like, shitty, because apparently Steve Jobs, like, back in 2010 said, like, oh, people don't like bigger phones, and now, not today.
No.
He did say something about them not wanting to make it bigger.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that, here's the thing, is with those really big handsets, like, they get to the point where they're so wide that it's hard to hold them in your hand. This, and I'm probably going to sound like such an Apple fanboy, but I don't really give a shit. But with this, it's just taller, and it's actually gone out to like a 16:9 screen aspect ratio.
Awesome.
Which is awesome. I think that's great. I would have, but it's not like a full 720p. I would have liked to have seen that, even if it had meant like widening the phone just a little bit. That I think that would have been fine to have gotten to that 720p resolution.
Yeah, but the phone itself is actually thinner and lighter.
Yeah, I don't know how they managed to do that. If you look at the profile of the phone, it looks like they use less glass than in the previous ones, and I would wager that because now on the back
aluminum,
it uses like some sort of brushed aluminum, and that has to be lighter. So I bet that's where the majority of their weight savings came in.
But it's also thinner. But stretched out.
It's stretched out so they can move stuff around.
I have mine pre-ordered. Yep.
Oh, you do? Which one did you go with?
32 gig black.
32 gig black. See, that's my thing, is that I've got on the 4S, I've got the 32 gig white. I decided that since Mrs. Totoro upgraded to a new iPhone last year with me, I was like, she went ahead and got the black one. I was like, well, just for ease of like telling them apart, I'm going to get the white one. But I think that next year when the 5S comes out, I'm just going to I'm going to go back in black.
I was thinking about getting the 64 gig, but I figured since I have an iPad and everything that I don't need to have all the data or all the storage on just one device. I can split it up.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I kind of thought about, and I guess the only thing for me would have been that the only time that I use a ton of storage is when I've got a lot of audio, like especially a lot of podcasts that I've downloaded that I've not listened to. But then the other time is when, like for example, when I was in Seattle, I uploaded, I did upload, but I took a lot of pictures and a lot of video, and that can take up a not insignificant amount of space. And that's going to continue to be something that's going to be more and more of a problem for some of these smaller phones that don't have a lot of storage on them when they're increasing the quality and the size of these.
The video and pictures and everything.
The photos that you can take. Well, I mean, 1080p video. It's not. You're not going to. It's going to be a while before you see something that takes a higher resolution than that. Just because it becomes an issue to play it back.
One thing that is cool is I got to keep my unlimited data plan.
Yeah, that's something that is definitely a consideration, especially for me, my wife, and my mother. We're all on my plan, but the three of us have unlimited data. My brother and my dad, unfortunately,
I was a little worried that because it was switching to 4G, that they'd make you get one of their tier.
They tried to stick,
but they didn't. I got to stick with my unlimited. Although after you hit like 2 gigs, they start throttling you, which is dumb.
Yeah. I actually got a text message from them that they were like last week. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, because I was trying to run the battery down on my phone while I was at work just to like completely recharge it.
Right.
And I was just streaming stuff off of Netflix and did it a couple of times this month already, and they sent me this kind of snotty text message saying, if in the future, if you go over 3 gigs, we're gonna throttle you.
I said, "Hey, jerk, stop watching Netflix. Get to work."
Yeah, pretty much.
Can we talk about games now?
Oh, would you like to talk about Darksiders 2?
Yeah, actually, I do want to hear about your Darksiders 2 experience.
I finished that today.
Yes?
Congratulations.
In Darksiders 1, I pretty much 100%ed the game. I didn't get all the achievements, but I did pretty much everything you could do except a couple of the collectibles. But in this, I didn't bother doing a lot of the side quests and everything. It's just technically, it's a better game. It has better gameplay. The platforming is fun. Combat is much, much, much improved. But the pacing of the game is just not good. It drags so much in the middle. I didn't really want to keep playing, but I did because I was kind of enjoying it because the puzzles were challenging.
So in general, you would say like it would have been better if like you didn't have to spend as much time doing certain things in the middle and it just moved.
Yeah, I think they should have cut out a dungeon or 2.
Oh, okay.
So the first one was also very long. That one didn't drag?
I wanted more content in that game, but in this, I wanted less. I think the first game is just more expertly paced. But is
it because this is bogged down with extra stuff and then new stuff?
No, it's just the pacing. Like they spend too much time with certain puzzle types and dungeons. It's like it's like in the other game was like you got an item, now there's a dungeon that uses that item. But in this it was like you got an item, now there's 3 dungeons that you have to use this item with.
Gotcha.
That's a bit much.
Yeah.
That sounds like Do you guys ever play the Soul Reaver games?
Yes, it is a lot like Soul Reaver.
Yeah, like the second one that they had, it was like some of the dungeons in the middle was like, oh man, puzzle. Oh, another puzzle. Oh god, now I gotta run around, more puzzle. It's like I want to just keep seeing the story, not worry so much about the dungeons.
And some of the puzzles were frustrating because it wasn't immediately obvious what you're supposed to do. It's like, oh, I didn't even know there was a portal panel there that is in a blind spot that there's no possible way you can see. Like it was that just happened before I finished it. There was a portal panel because you get a portal gun, and I didn't see it, so I just kept shooting the portal on this other spot and then falling to my death until I finally looked up what I was supposed to do, and it showed me where the other portal panel was.
I guess it makes you appreciate like the polish that Valve puts into their games.
Yes, it does.
Or Zelda.
Although I would say I think that the story was better in the first game too, and that could be another problem with why what was hurting the pacing. It was the story.
Well, everything I hear is that the first game ended with like a cool tease, like second game's gonna be cool, but then it kind of took a step back and you do like almost like a side quest.
Well, do you guys care if I spoil the ending for you for the first game?
I know.
Do you guys care?
I don't know that I would have. I have nothing. I know nothing of the game, so
Totoro saying no.
I have no context. It doesn't matter.
Same here. Let's just spoilers for
okay. Spoilers for Darksiders 1. In Darksiders, a seal gets broken, and then war comes to Earth, and then that causes a war, and then humanity gets wiped out. And then the story
he comes in a meteor, right?
Yeah. And then he's like, "Wait a minute, where's my brothers, the other horsemen?" And then he was tricked into starting the apocalypse, and
you've got to be fucking kidding me! Oh my god! And then
Earth is wiped out. Then thousands of years later, and then war is on trial, and then he convinces them to let him go, figure out what happened, and then.
Wait, so war? Okay, I'm sorry. So, is this like
the horseman?
Okay. That's what I just wanted
and
to
then so he goes through, he figures out what happened. At the end of the game, it breaks the seal, the actual seal, and then you see the other horsemen coming down to Earth, and there's an angel talking to him, and she says, "You really want to fight all of us alone?" And then he says, "No, not alone." And then the camera pans up and it shows the 3 like meteors coming down. So the other horsemen.
So you're like, "Oh my god, fucking apocalyptic beatdown."
So then that ends, and you're just like, "Holy crap!" And then you're thinking 4-player co-op because 4 horsemen.
But this is just
this is
Death.
Right?
He
plays Death.
And then is this a sequel or is this a prequel or happening during the time?
It happens after humanity is wiped out, and he's trying to save war, and so he's trying to restore humanity by going to the Well of Souls.
The Well of Souls. They're digging in the wrong place.
And he does it kind of not. Do you care if I? Well, I'm not gonna spoil too.
Yeah, let's not do Darksiders 2.
Not to spoil
yeah, I won't spoil it.
I still know enough.
But compared to the ending of Darksiders 1, it wasn't like, oh yeah.
Well,
so do they dig in the wrong place when they look for the Well of Souls?
No.
Or did they go right to it?
Well, I mean, he knows right where it is the whole time. It's just getting there. You have to go through your Zelda dungeons and get all your items.
So they don't know that it's on the outskirts of Iskenderun.
Right. But the story of it doesn't really tie in that much with the first game, and I just wasn't interested in it. It's okay, he's trying to save war, but then there's all this other stuff going on that has nothing to do with it.
Are you looking forward to part 3?
There will be a part 3, yes.
You think this might have like soured?
Well, if I would, I'm not saying this is what I would give the first game, but if I were to give the first game like a 10, then this game would be an 8. It's still a good game.
You were a big fan.
I really like the first one.
Oh man, listening to you talk about this makes me like worried about Borderlands 2 coming out next week because I'm super hyped for that game.
I think Borderlands 2 will deliver.
I hope so.
I believe in Randy Pitchford.
Although you guys don't like Hop.
Yeah, so it might be written in a way you guys
hate. Because it is written by Anthony Birch, and it has Ashley Birch doing a voice of a character in the game.
Right, but she's just like an NPC, so I assume she's going to come up with a few quests.
I think she's a quest.
And not much more. Yeah.
Yeah, you said Hop, and for a minute I didn't know what you were talking about because I have never watched a single
pretty
episode.
Good.
Hey, Ash, what you playing? Some of them are pretty good.
Them all.
I like some of them.
I have seen a couple, and I've hated them all. They were all dumb.
I think he was dumped by Ashley Birch once, so he can disassociate his feelings for her. I think he was dumped
by Anthony Birch.
Have you seen Anthony's? Is that his wife or like his girlfriend?
His sister.
No. There's another character.
It's weird because her name is Ashley too. Yes.
Is it? But she's like the dumb one, right? She's brain dead or something, or she pretends to be.
Yeah, but yeah, that one is his wife.
Yeah.
And Ashley Birch is his sister.
They all look like they're 12, but apparently they're adults.
Well, yeah, they work for Gearbox.
It's weird. They look like they're 12 years old. Even Anthony
and
Birch.
They really like their Metal Gear. They did a whole like Metal Gear Solid 4 ending type thing.
I did.
And for those keeping track, Metal Gear was brought up. Take a shot.
Yeah, I was about to say. No, just chug the whole bottle now.
Yep. Kill yourself with alcohol.
I think X should now explain the plot of Metal Gear Solid.
But I haven't played through the whole thing.
No,
but I can try. Okay,
never mind.
There's the boss.
I'm just joking. I actually want to hear Black Mesa because you just played it.
I didn't play much.
Podcast.
But yes, I did play it. I haven't even gotten a gun yet. I just got the crowbar.
So just to clarify to everyone, Black Mesa is the fan-made remake of
that's been in
Half-Life
development
1.
since Half-Life 2 came out. It just came out on Friday. But I hear
for free.
Was that like 10 years?
No, 8. You're way off.
Okay, only by 2 years. Still a lot.
Yeah, it's way. Most people thought it was dead, but then it came out. Although I hear the end of the game isn't actually in it, but I'm not positive about that. But it's good. It looks like Half-Life 2, and it plays really good. And yeah, I played it for like 45 minutes, and no gun yet. I think that's pretty awesome. You talk to this guy, and then he follows you around with a pistol, and then he shoots the head crabs for you.
Okay, so you haven't played Half-Life 1 ever, right? Okay. I really wish I got a chance to play this before.
I hear there's this part at the beginning that isn't in the original that's in this, where I walked into it's where you get the suit, and there's a bathroom there, and there's a guy in one of the stalls, and he says, "Oh no, there's no toilet paper. It would really be nice if someone brought me some toilet paper." So then I went and grabbed a roll of toilet paper and put it under the door, and then I got a little in-game achievement. Not a Steam achievement, but in-game achievement.
Yeah,
so apparently there's no toilet paper under the door in the original.
You can overcook a casserole in like the lounge, the employee lounge. There's like a
which is
microwave.
a reference to the episodes.
Yeah, later on they reference that in episode 2, I believe.
Cool.
I don't remember that, but
that was the annoying doctor guy. The guy was like really a prick.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
Barney.
He is like a guy with a
face and hair. Wait, are you sure he wasn't bald?
Oh my god.
So
are you sure he wasn't bald?
Wait, he might have been like what's that called when you're bald?
He's the kind of tallish, short guy who's kind of thinly fat.
Did he have long hair on the sides?
He's got a shaved beard.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Well, basically he says, "Well, I'm not going to bring up a certain incident where you burnt the casserole up or something like that." And it was a joke because he was in Black Mesa as well.
It didn't. That probably just didn't. I didn't make any sort of connection.
Every character in Half-Life 2 was in Black Mesa. That's not true.
Yeah, Alex isn't in it, right?
She was like a baby. I think who's Gordon Freeman's like a crater robber.
Well, Gordon Freeman is 27 years old in Half-Life 1.
What's the time difference between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2?
I'm sure they say, but I don't know.
5 seconds.
People can look it up, but
it's years.
Yeah.
Gordon Freeman has been like in slumber or something. Who the fuck knows?
It's roughly 20 years after the events of Half-Life.
47.
No, I think he's the same age.
You think he was in cryostasis?
Something like that.
Well, okay, so spoilers for the end of Half-Life 1. Do you care, X?
Maybe, yes, because I'm playing it for the first time right now. What's wrong with you?
But you just said it's like the end isn't
But
in
it
there,
could be.
right?
I don't know.
I'll spoil it by saying that they're just a bunch of nebulas talking.
Are you going to tell me there's a baby? Because Manta...
Alright, fine,
Manta may have spoiled
baby. Shine.
I think, well, I know what he's talking about, but I don't want to say what it is.
Yeah, I don't want to say either.
It's not a big deal, but it's still, I shouldn't tell you.
I found the G-Man already.
Do you know, you see him constantly throughout the game?
He was on some scaffolding walking around.
Yep, sounds about right. I definitely want to play this, so maybe we'll talk more about it next week.
Yeah. Now, well, it looks like this was approved for distribution on Greenlight, and will eventually be released on. It says what I'm reading, which is Wikipedia. It says through Valve's own software. I have to assume they mean Steam.
That means that's Steam Greenlight.
But if you go to their website, you can download it
directly from their website.
Yeah, it says their chapter is Black Mesa inbound through Lambda Core at this point in time.
How much of the game is that?
So, I have no freaking clue.
So, 8 years and this game finally came out, huh?
People thought it would never happen.
But slackers.
Do you think that's like a similar case with like other games in development hell right now? Like,
Last Guardian?
I guess, Last Guardian comes to mind. Also, Final Fantasy 13 Versus comes to mind.
Well, they've said, like, I think that Versus 13 is coming out, and it's just a matter of when.
And Last Guardian will never come out.
I want Last Guardian to come out in a pretty big way. Even though I've only played through chunks of Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, I've never, completed either one, but I just...
Go play and beat them right now. Seriously, really?
Really? I mean,
Those games have great endings.
Do you have the HD connection?
I don't. I got them. I got the HD collection from that game rental. Thank you. I gameflied them and started playing them, but at a certain point, I think that was the last game that I had before I canceled my GameFly subscription. It was like just I wasn't playing. I wound up playing more games on PC, so it was like one of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Last Guardian is now at a point where it's going to be disappointing. I don't think it's going to be able to live up to its expectations.
Well, it's not like they're out saying that this is going to be the absolute greatest fucking thing that
I don't have any expectations for it.
But the people who say that about Shadow Colossus and Ico, they're expecting that about it, even though they haven't said it. The thing is about Last Guardian is that it must have come into some sort of development trouble, but it's typical for these artsy Japanese games to take a long time, right? And not only that, like I recall a long time ago, like when they first announced The Last Guardian. Well, first of all, the trailer leaked. I don't know if you remember, but the trailer for Last Guardian leaked like a month or so before E3 when they finally announced it. And then ever since then, people have been like really like needy about that game. Every single time it was an E3, like Last Guardian's not here. Why is it not here? Why is it not here? And I remember thinking like, why do you guys always want to see the game at E3? It's not like a game like Call of Duty where they got more maps to announce or more guns to show you. The whole game is about the experience, right? So as long as we know that it's in development, fine. I don't care if it comes out in 10 years, as long as it just comes out one day and I get to experience it and without being spoiled beforehand and just, as long as it's a good game.
Well, maybe they think because it's not at E3 that it's no longer in development.
I mean, they've been thinking that since the beginning. I think people have been jumping the gun on that. Now, maybe it's the case where it's actually
didn't like the main dudes from that studio leave Sony?
No, the main dude like left Sony, but he said he was still working on the game, like as a contractor until it was finished.
But didn't he say recently that was no longer the case?
I don't know. I haven't kept up on that much. Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I think the thing, Dark Fox, is when a game goes into development as long as like Last Guardian does, or like it has problems, right? Like we know a lot about the problems that Duke Nukem Forever had.
Well, that game started over a million times.
Well, yeah, like, who's to say Last Guardian hasn't? We just probably don't have the information. But maybe they're rebuilding the engine from scratch over and over now. It's been like
maybe it'll be a launch game for the PS4.
I mean, any of this is possible, but with Duke Nukem, it was a very specific problem that I doubt Last Guardian had. Because the problem with Duke Nukem is I think his name is George Broussard, the guy who was in charge of it, was kind of like I don't know what to call him, but like every single time he'd see a new game will come out, he said, "Oh, this is cool, let's put that in the game," and then he completely halt the progress of what they were doing to shoehorn this feature that he's happy to see in a brand new game, and that would totally derail the development. That would constantly happen. He was like,
and every time a new version of the engine would come out, they would switch to the new engine.
Yeah. So he would be constantly derailing the thing instead of
scope creep.
Finishing what they had right there, right? I seriously doubt that's the problem with Last Guardian. It's probably the opposite problem where they're being kind of too much of an artiste and too much up their own ass, and they're trying to make everything perfect in a way that's detrimental to them. But like, who the hell knows? I think it's gonna come out, and I just hope it's at least a cool game. It doesn't have to be the best game ever. But
would you say that Half-Life 3 or Episode 3 is in development hell? Because it hasn't been announced.
But they're clearly working on it, and that's what I was kind of getting at. I think there is a weird bias because sometimes people give certain games, maybe they earn it because Valve delivers, right? It just takes forever.
Sometimes.
Right? How long do the episodes take? How long did the episodes take to come out?
They were
right?
quick.
People weren't saying that.
They were like there was like a year between them.
There were supposed to be like months between them. There
were
supposed to be episodes.
Compared to their other games, it was pretty quick. Although not like Left 4 Dead to Left 4 Dead 2, which was a year.
Like relatively, it took as long as their other games.
Portal to Portal 2.
It was supposed like the whole point is that it's gonna be episodes. We won't take that long to making them anymore. But it still took long, right?
Well, I feel like they're almost like trying to get away from concentrating on it so much. I mean, it seems like they're really spreading out their focus. I mean, because if you look, I mean, they kind of went back to a little bit of their roots with, redoing, doing a new version of Counter-Strike, and bringing in and doing Dota 2 and just things like that. I mean, I think that they're kind of all over the place now.
Yeah, I think it was smart of them to not just put all their whatever eggs in the Half-Life basket. They let that franchise breathe, and they went and do other stuff, and almost every single thing they do
Left
becomes
4
big.
Dead, Portal, Team Fortress, Counter-Strike.
They got to be really smart about this, you know? They're probably, like you said, they're working on it, but they're not going to announce anything until they know, like, they're approaching the, launch window.
Also, if they announce it now, they might get drowned out with the new consoles. So maybe they want to do the opposite.
Or maybe they announce it
maybe
they announce it now for the new consoles.
Mm-hmm. Right. If they were to do the same thing with like, the PS4, like what they did with the PS3, Portal 2, I would totally buy just the, console version of Half-Life 3.
So would
to put it on my.
Well, are you saying if it was announced as a next-gen game, you would buy a new console for it so that you could put it on your computer?
Well, I may not go out and buy the new console straight away.
He might buy the actual game, but not the console.
But I'll buy the game without the console. That way, when I do finally get the console...
But then you won't be able to play it until you get the console, because you have to...
No, he could
use the have to link it
through
the console? Do you have to link your account?
No, you had to link your Steam account to it, but that was about it. But I think it came with a Steam code, didn't it?
It
did, but I thought in order for it to use the Steam code, you had to link your Steam to your PSN account.
Maybe you could use your
but maybe
PS3
that was
account.
the first time. Who knows?
But yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I think that would be smart if they did that, because then that would guarantee them good sales. Although, because it's called Half-Life, that guarantees them good sales.
So you I think there was I heard you mention X. I'm not sure if you were theorizing or if it was a rumor about like Source 2, straight up like.
That was me making stuff up.
Okay.
No. That was they definitely were. People were speculating about that, and I know we brought that up like was it a month or two ago? But yeah, that is the one thing that makes the most sense to me, because if you talk about things that take the bulk of time for development of anything, it's the backbone engine work of development.
The thing is, they've been upgrading the Source engine all along, and right now the Source engine looks just as good as anything else. I mean, Portal 2 looks amazing in parts.
Yeah, in parts, but for the most part, it's not that visually diverse. It's very diverse compared to Portal 1, but like for other games, like I was saying, I'm no doctor, but I assume it has some sort of limitations compared to the new engines coming out now.
Maybe not. I think they designed it to be upgradable. Yeah, modular.
I remember like when Left 4 Dead 1 came out, like that was the first like, whoa, Source engine. Kind of looks like really nice.
Left 4 Dead 1 didn't look great. When Left 4 Dead 2 came out, it looked good.
I think it started with
added the extra. Well, and then they added in like the extra AI in. Well,
I mean, just like the gun models and everything look way better in Left 4 Dead 2 than Left 4 Dead 1. Left 4 Dead 1 looks pretty much exactly like Half-Life 2.
I wonder if at a certain point, if once they bring out Source 2 or whatever it is they're working on, if they won't like open source.
Will they call it open source? Open source?
Or just called just open source. But no, I want to see Half-Life 3 like in a pretty that's probably one of the few games that would like make me lose my shit.
Literally? You'd lose it and they say where to go?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what would happen. It'd be, I had something in my bowels and now it's gone. What happened? This game did that.
I would like to see a new IP from Valve. Although they have given us some this
Dota
gen.
2.
A lot of them this gen. They gave us Portal and Left 4 Dead and Alien Swarm. Although technically I guess that's not new because it was a mod. And Dota 2, I guess.
Yeah, that's new to them.
This is turning into the Valve and Nintendo episode.
Well, Valve is better than Nintendo.
I know that we kind of catch some grief sometimes for praying at the altar of Gabe, but I mean the fact of the matter is that I think that the Valve games are without a doubt some of the most universally acclaimed games.
Yeah, the record speaks for itself.
Yeah,
they're very good.
Yeah, and what was the worst game that they've ever made? The worst game that they've made in the past, 5 or 10
years. I don't know. Maybe episode 1.
You're talking about something.
Maybe worst might be Ricochet, like ever.
I'll play devil's advocate. I'm still not a big fan of like a lot of the digital stuff that like Valve like beholds you to. Like I don't like how like ultimately they get to decide if they're gonna take a game off of their library, even if.
But if they do that, you still get the game, and you can still download it as much as you want. You just can't buy it again, or other people can't buy it. They've done that with like Crysis 2. Mm-hmm. When they took Crysis 2 down, you could still had it in your library, and you could still download it as much as you want, and it would still be auto updated and everything. It just no one else could buy it.
Yeah, I know that was a disagreement between like Valve and EA, but still.
Well, yeah. Then that disagreement, kind of led to Origin.
I think the benefits of Steam far outweigh the negatives.
Yeah, every time that I've ever seen, something happen with Valve, kind of, in the marketplace, it always seems like they're so customer focused that they don't. Well,
I'm sorry. No, I'm just laughing because I'm thinking about when Ronsu, like last month, he bought. Was it Spec Ops?
Ghost Recon.
No, it was like Ghost. Yeah, it was Ghost Recon. His game was unplayable. It wouldn't run, and like he asked for a refund, and they're like, no.
Well, that's not their fault.
That's on Ubisoft, but still.
But still, it was. He bought a product that was unusable, and like they wouldn't help him out at all.
Well, but if the same thing would happen if you took an open game back to any retailer.
True. They might give you store credit.
Well,
yeah,
open.
Well, what they'll do is they'll if you have an open game, they will give you a copy of another copy of the same game. I don't see how that's any different than what any other retailer would do. So I can't fault them for that.
My friend one time bought Metal Gear 4, and when he opened the thing, it didn't have the Blu-ray inside, and he was screwed.
Oh wow, really? And he's like,
yeah.
Then he took it to them and said it didn't have it, and they said, yeah, right, you can leave now.
No, they didn't say, yeah, right, Buster, get out. It was like, oh, that's not our problem, that's a Konami problem. So then we tried calling Konami customer support, and he said that like they directed him back to GameStop, like that was GameStop's problem, and then he kind of got tired of being thrown back and forth, and he didn't follow up on it. He never got his refund.
That sounds like the worst possible thing that could happen.
That's horrible.
I mean, I think he should have followed up on it. If he would have kept on badgering them, he could have got something right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that and that'd be someone like Adam Fitch might have more of an experience with that because I know that he's dealt with the customer service side of things from a publisher standpoint. But I would think that would be a Konami thing because they're in charge of production. Yeah, they're in charge of production. GameStop, unless that's one of the things where GameStop has opened the game beforehand.
They do that.
Yeah,
I know that they do that. They do. But yeah, that's totally a production issue. So that's totally Konami.
I think we should move on since I'm sure people are sick of hearing what we're talking about.
Valve.
Yeah,
Nintendo. So we had the drink a shot because we mentioned Metal Gear. Now it's take a shot because we talked about Valve for longer than a minute.
Source 2 has to go up against Fox Engine, so I think they're in trouble.
I think we actually talked about Valve for like 45 minutes.
Squaresoft engine?
The Squaresoft.
What about Unreal Engine 4?
Luminous Engine. You mean gay Real Engine 4? Get out of that face. Get out of my face.
What about this week's movie?
Yeah, what engine does that use?
The Hunter.
Live action people.
It's an FMV game.
Dafoe, I'm going to kick your ass engine.
No, it's not. Let's just go into Moviebox. This week's Moviebox pick was Iro Troll's pick, and he picked the movie The Hunter, which was a movie starring Willem Dafoe.
And he was not the foe. He was not a villain.
No, yeah, he actually was not a bad guy. He was the main guy, and
kind of like The Last Temptation of Christ.
he wasn't like necessarily like a really good guy.
Well, he was helping those people. Like he got that lady off the drugs.
He had a gray.
He got the lady off the drugs. And fixed the generator.
Let's just explain the plot a little. He is a ex-mercenary, and he's hired by this company called Red Leaf to go to Tasmania and go.
But he's an ex-mercenary.
I think that's what it says in like the Netflix
he was just
explanation.
Like a hunter.
He used to be the Green Lantern. Right. I mean,
the Green Lantern. Yes.
Anyway, he's hired to go to Tasmania, and then go hunt down this animal and kill it, and then
which is a real. It was a real animal, and it really went extinct, and they really still get people who claim that they see them every year.
The Tasmanian tiger. It actually looks more like a fox than
a dog or something.
Yeah.
That's a cool concept for a movie.
Yeah.
Kind of based in sort of reality conspiracies kind of thing.
Well, you would think like Dark Fox, you didn't see it, right?
I haven't. I think if you guys start talking about spoilers later on, I might have to take my headset off because I think I still might see it.
I would highly recommend this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie.
I thought it was alright. There are things that I really liked, and then I thought like the plot kind of falls apart towards the second half.
But is William Dafoe and Sam Neill, are they cool?
What do you mean by cool?
Yeah, you have to define that.
Do they whip out like sunglasses out of their jacket and then put it on their face slowly and then go, yeah?
And then they slick back their hair and put on their leather jackets.
In that case, yes.
And get on hogs.
Flip up the collars.
So, no, they're not cool then.
No, definitely not.
Well, then fuck this movie.
Samuel wears his Jurassic Park hat.
Basically, yeah, he kind of does.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And he uses what I think is pretty close to his natural accent.
I think it is his natural accent.
Well, he's from New Zealand, so I don't know how... I don't know... I will readily admit that I am not aware of major differences between a New Zealand accent and an Australian accent.
Oh.
So what happened that made these things go extinct anyway? Was it just dudes shooting them?
Like really weird animals.
Mm-hmm.
That's not cool.
What makes anything go extinct, well, I mean, Tasmania is not that large of an island, so they don't have that much room to
I'm looking at pictures of these things, and they have really big mouths, like jaws.
Yeah. When I saw one of them in the movie, like, that had its mouth open, I was like, does that thing have a dislocated jaw? Because it looks like a cross between... The size of this thing's mouth looks like a cross between a dog and a crocodile or something.
It's ridiculous looking. It looks fake.
Yeah, well, in the movie, obviously they use CG to, put it... But yeah, it even looking at, the old footage, they have some old footage in the movie of, the actual Tasmanian tiger, and it does look like, what? Is that real? But, so the movie, Defoe is contracted by this company, Red Leaf, to go hunt down the Tasmanian tiger, and he goes into Tasmania, and they hook him up in this lodging situation that isn't like a private place. It's like renting a room at a house, and there's a family living there, and he gets involved with the family and kind of ends up befriending them, which I thought was kind of forced.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel that way?
Kind of. I mean, I don't get why he liked them so much and why he was helping them.
I know, right? It was at the beginning, it seems like he wants nothing to do with them. He actually tries to leave and find a separate room at a hotel or something.
Yeah, and he was shown being at the start of the movie, he was like, "You made me wait here 2 weeks," because he doesn't see the sights, he doesn't do anything. He's just always on his mission.
He seems like all business,
and that is the complete opposite of what happens.
And he says at the beginning, "I like being alone."
Yeah, it's the complete opposite of what he does in the movie.
It seemed kind of forced because all of a sudden, throughout the movie, this a switch is turned, and all of a sudden, I'm buddy with these kids and their mom, and I feel bad for them because they don't have.
I think what
anymore.
happened was he started feeling bad for them because he realized what happened to their dad,
right?
Because he was starting to feel like he was being followed and everything.
Yeah, and I thought that part was really awesome because he goes into the wilderness to go lay out these traps to mark points and try and track this Tasmanian tiger. And during that time, he feels like being followed. Some of his traps are destroyed, and you can tell the tree the guys who come down the tree, they're not happy he's there because he's under the cover as a scientist. So they refer to him as a greenie, trying to protect the environment. And then also like at one point he runs into some of the hippie guys, and they're like, "I hope you're not using steel traps."
I would never do that.
So it's and also like the missing dad.
Yeah.
Right.
They like there's a lot of factors that make you wonder, and there is someone out there with him, so it's a little suspenseful. And I thought that
But
was
then
really well done.
he ends up finding the body of the dad with a bullet hole in its head.
Yeah, and so I guess that kind of helps explain. It's just it's not that it's like explained. It's just like I felt like it was a little forced.
The dad hired to hunt the? I thought it was either that or they were saying that somebody else was out there hunting and he was trying to stop them. It wasn't clear.
Well, I kind of feel like I think that he was looking for it, and then eventually, this is the way it plays out in my head. He was looking for it, then he found out what they wanted to do with it, and then he kind of didn't want anything to do with it, and then got killed, got replaced.
Yeah, that was the impression that I was under.
Yeah, although he had been dead a long time.
So, yeah, like a year.
I mean, does it only take a year for you to become that decomposed? Because he was just bones
out in the elements. It could. It could. They said it had been in like a year. That he went up like last summer or whatever. So maybe a year and a half. I could be remembering that incorrectly, but I thought that's what it was.
I didn't like the second half of the film, like specifically after he finds the remains of the dad. Like some of his actions are weird. Like he goes into the bar, right, where he got like the guys who cut down the trees are, and he already got in kind of like a tiff with them earlier. Well, he goes there and like he's going there to pick a fight. Well, he
probably was thinking that they killed him,
right?
But then he put it together and realized what had actually happened.
Yeah, that it was the company had sent someone.
What did you think of the kids?
I thought they were fine.
They swore a lot.
That says girl. The fucking thing is fucking fucked, or the fucking fucker is fucked.
They're all right. Are you talking about their acting skill or like their characters or what?
Did you find them annoying?
No, I didn't find them annoying, but it was kind of you got like the one daughter, and then you got the mute kid, so it's kind of been there.
Who wasn't mute?
Although you don't hear what he says.
Yeah, I thought he was saying something like "Papa" or something like that.
But I didn't really see that coming. Where they die, the house burns down, and then they die.
Yeah,
that was way
like
out of left.
Dark turn.
That was just a twist for the sake of a twist.
Although, in hindsight, it really kind of works because it underlines how unscrupulous this corporation is.
Did they do it? Did that guy kill them, or was it just an accident? Because if he killed them, then you'd think he would have shot them all.
I think.
And there was one survivor.
I was under the impression that like he set fire to like get him killed.
I don't think that
it could have just been an accident because Sam Neill was right about the open flame. There was candles, and then that.
He said the police said it was.
I know, but that could have been.
But it is true. Right. We see the guy actually in.
But then you also see all sorts of candles going, and the wood burning furnace just open.
But they also, but I was under the assumption that he killed him.
I think it was left ambiguous.
No, I don't think so. No, I think it was the other guys.
The guys that hit
the guy who was sent to replace him.
It could be.
Because I think it's the same guy because he goes into the house and looks around, presumably finds the coordinates, and then later on, Martin finds him or Willem Dafoe's character finds him, after he shoots him, and finds the scrap of paper with the coordinates on him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he was clearly in the house.
Or were you? Right. No, I thought you guys were talking about the Sam Neill's character being like complicit in it.
No.
Okay. See, I thought that he was behind a lot of the stuff to begin with, because like when the loggers all roll up to the house after,
yeah, he was with them too.
Yeah, he was with them, but he looked like he was kind of hiding his face a little bit, and then it kind of felt like he was trying to keep the mother all drugged up.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I was under the impression that it was because he liked the mother. Maybe it was a romantic thing.
You mean a rapey thing?
Oh, maybe he was.
Yeah.
Silence.
But it's not, it's not spelled out. It's pretty ambiguous.
So overall, what did you think of the movie?
I really, really liked it.
Did you really like the wilderness scenes and some of the shots? Because those are beautiful.
That's kind of what I really liked. And, I like movies like Into the Wild, Never Cry Wolf, things like that. Have either of you guys seen
I've seen The Edge. I think it's called The Edge.
Oh, with what's his nuts and what's his face?
Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. That movie was pretty good.
But yeah, that's one of the things that I really liked about it. But it was just movies like that really kind of appeal to me.
I liked it too,
I don't know why,
but I just felt like the more I thought about some of the plot points, I was like, there's kind of not the logic doesn't line up completely, but everything that happens for a very specific effect, and it's effective. So
yeah,
I just thought the second half kind of was oh well, I guess that what just happened makes sense for what they're trying to accomplish with the film. It wasn't very subtle in that aspect sometimes.
Yeah.
Did you think that too?
I thought it was pretty good. So, whose Moviebox pick is next?
Okay, Kevin EP3. His Moviebox.
And do you have that one?
I do.
If this is what I think it is, I am not going to be happy.
Is it Super Android 13?
It is Dragon Ball Z Super Android 13.
That's what I thought.
Wait, Dragon Ball Z? I'm
back.
Back.
That is Kevin's pick.
Kevin EP3, after we did the end of Eva movie box pick, Kenzo's pick, he was like, that gives me in an anime mood. And he was like, I'm going to pick Dragon Ball Z Super Android 13.
And you know what? It gives me an anime mood as well.
Oh my god.
No.
X is not going to do it.
It's I won't be watching 2 in a row.
Are you really really going to skip this?
I'll still be on it. I'll still be on to talk about it, though.
No,
I'll tell you what I think happened.
Okay, you know what? I don't know what to say because you did slog through Eva.
Maybe he should be allowed to skip one more anime pick, but after that, if it's not a deliberate troll pick, then he should be.
Just to be clear, Kevin did not pick this to troll you, X. He picked this because he wanted us to watch it. He got in the.
I think you're all out to get me.
This movie is only this movie is only 46 minutes.
Yeah, that is the length of an episode of a TV show. I don't think the movie is a movie.
Well, it's because these movies are special TV episodes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's longer than
a
the
very
regular,
special episode.
That's longer than the average episode of Dragon Ball Z, which are 19 or 21 minutes.
My next pick is going to be an episode of Supernatural.
It is sold in DVD, so it is a feature-length DVD.
No. This is not feature length.
Yeah, it's not. Feature length is I think it has to be 70 minutes or 80?
At least, I think so.
Yeah.
To me, anything under an hour and a half is.
I've seen some that were around 80 or 70, 77 that were okay.
I think I picked Jackie. I think I picked Jackie Chan.
When they were releasing these movies, I think they were releasing them in the theaters in Japan as part of a festival of anime, and so you had maybe one or two or 2 or 3 together that you would see. Maybe a Dragon Ball Z mini thing 45 minutes, and then maybe something else as well.
I actually think that when that makes that random trivia thing for the day. I think when My Neighbor Totoro was released in Japan, that it was paired with Grave of the Fireflies.
So
which is completely that's completely ends of the spectrum. I hope that My Neighbor Totoro was shown second. That way, people didn't walk out of the theater and want to commit suicide. That movie is Grave of the Fireflies is so freaking depressing.
You guys are saying Kevin should be kicked out of Moviebox for not picking a movie?
No, So that's next week's movie box pick. Dragon Ball Z, Super Android 13. It's not on Netflix, so you're gonna have to find it.
And if you don't like anime, just watch Weekend at Bernie's. Nope.
Is that what you're gonna do?
No.
Before we end the episode, let's mention Game Club because we haven't mentioned it yet.
Oh, yeah,
that thing for nerds. Yeah.
Totoro, go ahead.
Yeah.
What is Retro Game Club?
Stuff that matters. Okay, so Retro Game Club, this was something that I had been talking to Kenzo and Biggie, because I know Biggie initially had brought up wanting to do something where we played through an old game, and one of the games that he suggested was the old game Mule, if you're familiar with that.
Atari.
And we did. So we unfortunately we didn't go with that one, but then Kenzo had brought up like wanting to like play Suikoden, so we kind of just decided on Suikoden because it's a little bit easier to get a hold of. It's a little bit easier to play because of
PSN?
kind of platform. Yeah, it's $5.99 on PSN. Then you can play it on either your PS3 or your PSP. Do they have PlayStation 1 games on the Vita now?
Not completely. I think specific titles. That's tentative.
So when are you playing this?
So we started at the beginning of September, and we are going to run this through the end of September. We may go ahead and extend it for a couple of weeks into October because we've not really talked about it to this point. Probably around the beginning of October, we'll start asking people, what they might want to play next, and then at that point we'll go ahead and put a poll up on the forums and vote on what we want to play next.
So is there a thread up for this game club right now?
There is a thread up. It's I think it's listed under the games board. Just, I think it's Retro Game Club, like 2012, Suikoden. So go there, play the game, talk about it. I know that we've had some decent response on, conversation about the game, and actually the whole series, Suikoden series.
Yeah.
People on there talking about it, so there's some good information on there. The one thing that I will ask people to do is, if you do post on there and you're going to post anything about the plot of the game, anything that could even be remotely considered spoilers, to please use a spoiler tag, because they're going to be, since we're not doing it in any sort of structured manner where, we play to, X point in the game, the first week, and the X point of the game the second week, and so on and so forth, that you go ahead and wrap it in a spoiler tag, just so that no one gets spoiled if they want to avoid spoilers.
Maybe after you guys are all done, you can do a little retrospective on this podcast, like as a little tag at the end.
Yeah, sure. That would probably be really fun.
Oh.
But go there and check it out, and hopefully hopefully people will enjoy it and go from there.
X, do you want to talk a little bit about what our plans are in October?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think we need to work that out a little more before we say anything.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
But you guys should watch the Conan O'Brien review of Resident Evil 6.
Okay, completely unrelated.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that is great.
Okay, so
it is great.
Let's just wrap it up. Thanks for listening to this episode. Thanks to DartFox8 and special guest Tumble for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, please donate to the official Geekbox Mumble server, where we hang out and talk and record this podcast. If you want to participate in the podcast, jump into the Mumble server and talk to us, or you can PM us on the forums at geekbox.net, and make sure you PM either Mr. X, Totoro, or me, Dakazu. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at alltalk podcast. Email us questions at podcast@alltalkpodcast.com, and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to listen to the other podcasts, including the Geekbox, the Comic Conspiracy, the Comedy Button podcast, and Good Job Bringing Us. That just about wraps it up. Thanks for listening. I love you.
I know.